My grievance, or rather my plea, is to the Minister for Child Protection, Prevention of Family and Domestic Violence. But before I start, I want to acknowledge some people in the public gallery who are deeply invested in this issue and have travelled a considerable amount of distance to be here. So Jules and Dee from Galyara Aboriginal Corporation and Dave and Peter from the West Australian Police Union. I really appreciate the support. Minister, I thank you for taking this grievance. There is no domestic and family violence refuge anywhere in Warren Blackwood. None in Manjimup, none in Bridgetown, none in Brook, none in Augusta, none in Margaret River, and none in Denmark. This isn't just a policy gap, it's a real-world safety failure, one that puts women and children at risk every single day. It's also a failure of leadership, of promise-keeping, and for the women and children of Warren Blackwood, it's a failure of protection. Minister, let me be absolutely clear. This absence of a local refuge is putting lives on the line. One young mother in my electorate, I will call her Eve, lived through a level of brutality most of us cannot even imagine. Violence that wasn't a bad night or an argument, but calculated terror. She was strangled in front of a baby, dragged from her car, hit over her head with a shovel, and kicked while lying on the bitumen as her children screamed. This wasn't in Perth, not in some far-off town. It was in Manjimup, in the heart of Warren Blackwood. Eve did everything we tell victims to do. She got a restraining order. He breached it again and again. She told people she felt like a sitting duck in her own home, lying awake at night, listening for footsteps, praying the next knock on the door wasn't the last thing she'd ever hear. And because there is no refuge in our region, Eve was forced into a choice no mother should ever face: run or die. She packed clothes, formula, nappies, whatever she could grab. She said goodbye to her dogs, knowing she might not never see them again. And she drove herself and her 3 children almost 2 hours without even holding a driver's licence, because staying in Manjimup meant not surviving. Minister, Eve said something that has stayed with me ever since. I was so scared to leave and drive to another town. I worry so much about women who do not have cars, who can't get away. That is the reality in Warren Blackwood. That is the cost of government inaction. Minister, I sit in this chamber and listen to you speak with great conviction, often at length, about how much you have done, how committed the government is, and how the Labor government has invested so much. But none of this has helped Eve. I cannot help but sit here and think the Labor government has turned its back on Eve, on the women and children of Warren Blackwood. Because for all the talk, for all the self-congratulation, not a cent of that investment has delivered a single refuge in my electorate. Not one local crisis bed. What good are words when they do not reach the people who need them? And every time I raise the issue, the government reaches for a political distraction. You point to decisions made years ago in Perth by former Lord Mayor, as though that somehow explains or excuses what is happening on your watch right now. It is irrelevant, it is a deflection, and frankly it's pitiful. Everyone in this chamber knows that is not my style. I do not bring up trauma to score points. I bring it up because the people I represent are in danger and they are being ignored. Members of our community asked Labor for an election promise. Fund a local refuge. The answer was no. Violence doesn't pick postcodes, and neither should safety. There is still no refuge in my electorate, no emergency accommodation, no local crisis response base within the electorate, nothing in the current budget to change that. Meanwhile, the refuge in Bunbury turned away 817 women and children last year due to capacity. How many come from Warren Blackwood? How many are now back in the homes they fled because they had nowhere else to go? Just this year, the refuge in Busselton turned away 286 unassisted inquiries between January and June. 29% of those were women with 3 or more children. And while services collapse under pressure, it is our police who are left to pick up the pieces. The police union supports our call. They say the current system strains officers, delays response times and undermines community safety. We have received a formal letter of support and I will be tabling that letter today, and I seek leave to table this letter.
Is leave granted?
Yeah.
Leave's granted.
This isn't just a safety issue, it's also a resourcing issue, particularly for our police. When there's no local refuge, police are the ones who step in. When police in Warra and Blackwood respond to domestic violence incidents and must transport victims 2 hours away to the nearest available refuge, it creates a ripple effect of challenges. Officers are removed from local patrol duties for extended periods, leaving communities with reduced coverage. These extended call-outs often involve emotionally charged, high-stress situations. Officers must manage the immediate safety concerns, provide trauma-informed support, and drive long distances, contributing to burnout and fatigue. Minister, this is not just about infrastructure. It's about people, it's about dignity, it's about life and death. Women in Warra and Blackwood should not have to flee 200 kilometres to find shelter. Children should not have to sleep in cars because their mums are doing everything they can to stay alive. And police officers should not be left to carry the weight of a broken system. So today I'm calling on the government to act, not eventually, not under consideration, now. Minister, this is more than a grievance, it's a plea. A plea to help the women and children of Warra and Blackwood, a plea to help them stay alive. I'm pleading with you, Minister, and with the Premier to act now. Do not turn away, stand with us, deliver what is needed. Thank you.
The Minister for Prevention